Hi guys, Happy New Year and Merry Christmas. Today I wanted to do a lecture on speaking. PTE speaking has got many parts. The most important part where my students or generally students struggle a lot is the describe image part. So describe image part has many different images. There's different categories of images. But today, the image category that we are going to talk about is line graphs. Line graphs are very important. There are two types of line graphs that come. First is a normal line graph, like the one I'll show you, and the other one in which there are two line graphs in which you have to compare between the two. So that's a bit of a different, and we may do it later on. Again, if you want more information or if you want to contact me, my page PT Melbourne is there. You're more than welcome to post comments and ask me questions. I'll try to help you out as much as I can. One more thing I need to tell you is that a lot of my students ask me, I mean, people who watch the videos, they often message me on YouTube or something like that. I would highly recommend if you're looking for private tuitions, just message me on the Facebook page. And if I'm not there, then I'll recommend you to one of my best friends who've done PT and got about 90. So it shouldn't be a problem. So let's get started with the line graphs. Okay, this is like a normal line graph that usually comes in a PT exam. What we do is that first of all, let me tell you something. There are three things in a graph that in any graph or image you have to discuss. First is the introduction, second is the body, and third is the conclusion. Conclusion is very, very important. Why is conclusion important? If you look at the grading pattern of PTE, the thing that differentiates a 79 plus from other candidates is a conclusion. You have to say to conclude because the computer is judging your speaking and the computer picks up words. So these words are very important. You have to say them so the computer picks up and it distinguishes you from a good candidate, as a good candidate from the other candidates. So let's start this graph. First of all, you will have only 40 seconds and you have to explain everything. You need to have a good practice of speaking, otherwise you might stutter or you might be confused and you might not be able to perform at its best. But when you practice, trust me, it will be very easy for you. So you start the graph by the introduction. You say the graph shows the number of people in the store from 10 a.m. till 6 p.m. The y-axis shows the number of people from 0 till 25. Now you have to make sure that you explain first of all the topic. The topic is the people in a store. And then after explaining the topic, you say the number of people on the y-axis. You have to explain the y-axis and then you have to explain the x-axis. This is very, very important. Please don't go start explaining the graph without even explaining the axis. This doesn't look good, and you'll be confused. You'll explain something that was supposed to be explained later on, earlier on, and then you'll mix it up. So it's better going with a pattern. So go for an introduction. I haven't said that on the x-axis or the y-axis. I've just put that, I've paraphrased that in just two sentences. That is, the graph shows the number of people in the store. On the x-axis, you can see it starts at 10 a.m. the store and closes at 6 p.m. So instead of saying at x-axis time it's 10 a.m. till 6 p.m., I said the graph shows the number of people in the store from 10 a.m. till 6 p.m. I've just put these into one sentence, and then I have to explain the y-axis. Okay, so I say the y-axis shows the number of people from 0 till 25. So now I've covered basically everything. And by the way, you don't need to explain this copyright 2007 Mrs. I don't try to be an Einstein. Don't explain this thing. This is rubbish. You don't need to explain this thing. This is not even valid. Okay, now come to body. So in body, now you start explaining that at 10 a.m. you can see there are only two people in the store. So you say at 10 a.m. only two people were in the store. And now you have to explain, the major significant things in the graph. So the significant thing is the peak. Can you see the peak? 22 at 1 p.m. You have to explain that. Then you have to explain the dip that goes, and the end thing. So the start thing, the surge or the increase, the top, uh, the climax or the optimum point, the decrease, and at what it ends. So here it goes. At 10 a.m., only two people were in the store. However, the number of people started to increase, especially after 11 a.m. Can you see? From 10 a.m. to 11, it was a steady increase. But then there is a surge. When there was a surge in the number of people after, with a peak of 22 persons at 1 p.m. So at 1 p.m., can you see 22 people? That's the maximum number of people in the store. And then you say after 1 p.m., the number of people started decreasing sharply. And when the store closed at 6 p.m., only three people were there. So you can see at 6 p.m., three. And one thing that I discovered later on, I mean, when I used to do graphs first time when I saw PT, I used to explain everything. Okay, 10 a.m., two people, 11 a.m., 6, 12, 10, 1, 22. You don't need to explain those much numbers. You just need to explain two, three numbers. That's it. Because it's not a mathematical speaking test. It's an English speaking test. They're judging how well you can explain the numbers, but in a much better vocabulary, not numerical way, but in an English vocabulary in a beautiful manner. And lastly, so you'll conclude the major thing. Again, at 1 p.m. there were 22 persons. So you just put that in the conclusion. To conclude, the maximum number of people at one time in the store were 22 at 1 p.m. That is it. Now, this much of information is more than enough to say in 40 seconds. The last thing I would like to say is that there was some of the images. It was 40 seconds, but I finished at 30. So when you finish at 30 and you don't have anything to say, don't stop. Just press next. Because if you stop, then from 30 till 40, you'll have a 10 seconds gap, and the computer will judge you negatively. The more you not speak, the bad it gets for you. So it's better just click next and next. I mean, I think I did even do one of them with 29 seconds. It's not advisable. It's advisable to spend all the 40 seconds and speak as clearly with coherence as much as you can. But then again, if something happens like that, then you need to know what's plan B. You need to click next. In speaking, they judge your pronunciation and oral fluency. For pronunciation, a lot of the students from the Middle East or from Asia, they tend to copy the British accent or the Australian accent. If you can copy it very well, then it's okay. Otherwise, I would strongly encourage you not to do it. This is because you might think that you will try to impress the computer, or you might tend to impress the teacher, but that's not the case. The coherence will break when you copy because you weren't born there. So therefore, it's advisable, if you are Pakistani, do it in a Pakistani accent. If you're Indian, do it in an Indian accent. It doesn't matter. When you do it in your natural accent, there is a coherence. So that's what it matters, and that's the proficiency. That's the thing that the computer is going to judge. So I hope you do well in your speaking. For the next till next time, have a nice day.